Taror api sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sada hari vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhubhya evacha pachitanam pavanebho vaishnavebho namo namah. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. I honestly am a little bit embarrassed by the situation, but obviously, once again, I have to overcome this and try to serve, if it's possible, and be useful. I would like to make it in the form of questions and answers, because I don't really know what to speak about, to dig into the past. No, there is present, and we can just talk about anything in the past and nobody will check other than the Lord. And I would like to speak about the present. In the present time, I have my spiritual master. I'm happy that I have him in my life. I have great Sangha, and I'm so fortunate to have it. I have very good mentors, spiritual mentors, and I'm very happy to have them. What else do I have now? I have an enormous family that more or less gives me joy, the spiritual family. I also have your attention, your life, your love, and they mean quite a lot to me. Thank you so much for being in my life. That's it. Hare Krishna. If you have any questions, I will try to answer them somehow. I don't know what to tell you. This will take most likely quite a lot of time, and unlikely you have this amount of time, energy, and desire. But I can't make decisions for you. If you say go ahead, then I will. Okay, Mataji wants to say want to ask something. Thank you. How I came to the movement. I got dragged. There was one very interesting, great person in my life, and that was Ambarisha Prabhu. He was an amazing person, quite an ordinary, extraordinary. He was a personality of great spiritual strength and intelligence. He was a great person. I have never met anyone like him. I don't want to disrespect anybody, but he is a rare soul, unlike anyone else. And then once during my practice, athletic practice, he told me, I shared that I read a book by a Soviet Indologist called Guseva, and she managed to speak about the lives of Western devotees in great detail. And she explained how an altar is constructed, how the beads are used, how many beads are there in a mala, what devotees do with it. And by then, the tasteful life in my life had already disappeared, mostly, because not a single society attracted me at that time. I was accepted by different levels of society, but I wasn't feeling comfortable with any of them. And at that time, I gave ultimatum to Krishna. I said, I have 20 minutes for you. I was born in a family of faith. My father was a priest and was a great person. My mother was a great person. But my relationship with God was given to me pretty much by Srila Prabhupada. I can't say that I lived a religious life. I was a faithful person, but I didn't live a religious life. But there are different things that happened in my life, especially considering my imperfect senses. and my other vices. My life was on the edge. And in the end, this meeting with late Ambarish Prabhu became a game changer for me. We were practicing together. We were associating, and I told him that I tried this mantra and was chanting it for 1 month because I was just curious what would happen. And he then invited me to visit him. I would honestly tell you that was a big deal for me because we all respected him a lot as a person. And I gladly accepted his invitation, and I went there, and I was completely poisoned. To this day, I'm carrying this poison for 42 years. And then Yamaraj, I can't say that what was cooked by Yamaraj was something resembling food. It was just burned. What? Oh, yes. There was a devotee called Yamaraj. She's correcting me. So you don't think that was that Yamaraj. Yes, thank you. So there was burned semolina with sugar, which was in a very nice color. You can't even find this color around. You can see just little speckles of it. It was dark brown. And it was so sweet. It was what he called halava. But because of my respect for Ambarish Prabhu, I ate it all. And then after that, they kind of politely let go of me because they told me they had something else to do. And I parked my car outside and I decided to just go for a walk. And I was walking and I was just feeling like jumping. I was curious, what are those guys taking? I scanned myself and I remember that I had never felt anything like that. I had never experienced that before. I went back and they hid on the second floor. And Ambarish's mom said they had gone away for a walk. So I called him in the evening and I told him, okay, I will scream. Is it okay? Haribol. Now, I can see you and I will watch you. Oh, this is a setup against me. Maybe just pass it on here. So they showed me how to make prasadam, how to offer, and I was watching the hands all the time. Nothing could be hidden from me. And most importantly, his kitchen was sterile. Unlike even hospital, it was just so clean. The first time I was there, I was wearing my outside shoes and he was tolerating it. And I was also carrying a smoking pipe in my mouth. So meaning I was spreading quite a smell. He was tolerating me. So I asked him, is it okay? If I smoke here, I'll just open the window. Would that be okay? So he gave me food and he opened the. He fed me. He said, just try to do it at home. Try to do it at home. And he passed on the mood. And this is the mood I'm still carrying to this day. I would like to say that everything that happens to us happens by great mercy. If we have trust to this mercy and we try to pass it through us, then Krishna, no doubt, will give us from the heart, give us the understanding how it all works. Krishna as striving for relationships. If we are stable, then we start understanding the language of our heart. I would like to speak about it more than to speak about the past and what was wrong or what could have been done differently. I don't think that this is the most important and interesting part of our journey into Krishna consciousness. We of course get sick, get tired, something happens to us, but I don't regret not a single moment of my life. Japa Prabhu. I don't regret a single moment of my life in Krishna consciousness. Thank you. And on this moment, I would stop and pass on the microphone, the pipe, the peace pipe to senior devotees. If you don't mind. I don't want to. Let them start. Okay, then I will try to continue. Hare Krishna. So, and overall, I really liked the mantra. So many things that were there that I couldn't agree with, for example, with the method of worship at least. I like the mantra. I like prasadam a lot. I liked to make fun of KGB agents. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. Krishna really inspired me, and there was quite a lot of adrenaline in my life. I'd like to also tell you that there is one adrenaline junkie here. Once we were visiting Major Dvaj in 1983. We were at his house. And then his father all of a sudden saw that through the gate some girl jumped over. She just jumped over the closed gate, which was quite tall. And he said, let her stay here. Let her stay here. He really liked her. And I think that everything that happened to us was because God has some kind of scenario for us. To say that at least me or us, that we are so special, we can't. But Krishna, when He gives us something to do, He also gives us the might, the strength to do it. And it becomes very interesting that we can't just step over that knowledge that was given to us. And if one has to listen to somebody, then that is to spiritual master alone and to God, because I have to tell you before God that I can't take credit for anything. There was always choice, and I chose Krishna. And He chose me every time. And everything else were just some moments that He dragged me on through this life, to this moment. This is all I can tell you, answering your question. But if we go into it in great detail, Bhakti Chaitanya Swami was inspiring me, but there was just so much for devotees to read and to listen to about devotional service. If you have some specific questions, I can answer in more detail, but to just go into the past for the sake of all I can say is I don't regret a single moment of my life. Moreover, the brightest days of my life are in Krishna consciousness. I can also add that the most to say, to look inside. I can't take credit for anything. Our mind is always on the lap of the spiritual master, and that is the only reason why we manage to somehow go through the obstacles of this life. I can't take credit for anything. For that reason, if anyone has the slightest desire to take credit for anything, he or she will make a great mistake. We fully consist of the mercy of the spiritual masters, of the devotees. So all glories unto them, and all my respects unto them. That is what I can say from myself. Hare Krishna. Any more questions? Everybody satisfied? Thank you. Hare Krishna. I would like to also say a few words to once again introduce Japa Prabhu. He actually knows everything about the very beginning of Krishna consciousness in the USSR. Who appeared in which city, who were the first devotees, who came where, who met whom. So fortunately for us and for you, he remembers the dates and the names very well. I would like to add just maybe a minute, as Parjanya Maharaj Prabhu said. Actually, the most important thing that we had, the most valuable, was association of devotees. We only consisted of a small group, maybe 10 people that I personally knew, and we were ready to go from St. Petersburg to Tallinn. There was a group of devotees. In Sukhumi there was a group of devotees, just amazing devotees. And no distance, no time could separate us from each other. And there's also one very important moment, that Krishna always protects his devotee. And that was really felt all the time. So we had this fearlessness. All the devotees had it. And all devotees had many stories to tell you, to really illustrate it with examples how Krishna gives everything to devotees, fulfills their desires and protects them. So this is pure nectar and happiness that we want to share. And Japa Prabhu can tell you quite a lot. For me, I think if he starts, then we'll have no time left to add anything. So those devotees all were locked up for Krishna consciousness, except for me. My life, I came in touch with those hard times, but the most romantic period of my life was during that period. And my marriage and meeting Japa Prabhu happened actually in prison, when he was serving in a remote location. So I had the experience, and I saw it with my own eyes what it was like. So at this point, I'd like to finish. There's so many stories, but I would like to share with you all. I asked Japa Prabhu to start at least writing a memoir, because it's very, very valuable.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I would like to also introduce this person for you to understand how
Я его воспринимаю.
I see him.
Когда мы освободились, мы
When
однажды в
we
Сочи ехали на моей машине.
Got out of prison, we once were in
И
Sochi
он
going in my
видит
car,
там
and then
дома,
he
а это
saw
говорит, что за дома?
buildings.
Я
He
ему
was asking, what kind of
объясняю,
buildings are
это
those?
мне надо.
He said, yeah,
То есть он был всегда заряжен на Санкиртан,
this
он
I
всегда
need.
был заряжен
Because he was
на
always
служение.
active
То
in
есть жизнь не
preaching and
только не
Sankirtana.
сломала, она его
And his
зарядила.
life didn't just
И
break
за
him,
это
it
я
actually
с великим
surcharged
почтением
him.
всегда
And for that reason,
склоняюсь
I
и
always pay my obeisances
чту этого человека.
in
Он очень
respect
по
to
сердцу
this
только по
person,
одной
because
причине.
I really,
Я его мало знал.
I didn't know him
Но
really
все
well, but
соприкосновения, которые
he,
были, они всегда были
every
связаны только с
every
Богом.
association
И
experience I
это
had with him
свет,
was
который
always
не
connected to
стирается.
God. And this is a trace that can never
Харе
be
Кришна,
erased.
спасибо.
Hare Krishna, thank you.
Это в дополнение к
This is
тому,
just my
что
addition to what
Матаджи пыталась сказать.
Mataji was trying to say about him.
Я мало знаю сейчас,
I
как он
don't
живет.
know a
Я
lot
знаю,
about
что
his
он
life right
здесь,
now,
значит, все
but
с
I
ним
know
всё в
that
порядке.
he's here, meaning
Очень
that
рад этому.
everything is fine in his heart. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, I would like to say a few words. As Parjanya Maharaj wasn't going into depth into all the historical details, how everything began. I'd like to explain the illustration, set the scene of how it was happening. Krishna consciousness came to us through one person, as you all know. And I was always thinking, sometimes we listen to classes and deep down we have this realization. Can you imagine? Prabhupada came to Russia. How many days he was there? 5 days. He met one person and gave him knowledge over those 5 days. One person. Can you imagine how many seeds were sown by him? How Srila Prabhupada had the Shakti to pass on to one person, and now we are all grandchildren and grand-grandchildren of Srila Prabhupada. And that was at the beginning of the 70s. We joined beginning of the 80s. I joined in the 81. It was atheistic country. Those who lived in USSR remember those times. Atheism, which was on the level of government. This country was going towards communism, and religion was completely forbidden. And those seeds that were sown over those 5 days, they grew to become a complete miracle. We were all very young. We're a little bit over 20, and some were close to 30s. And we met some people that were bringing some knowledge that was completely unknown to us, but it was very attractive. Speaking about myself, I can say that I met a devotee. Everybody has their story, how they joined. I, for example, joined. I met at a funeral. I met one devotee. I knew her, and she said, there are some yogis. There was no information about yogis. Yogis in our imagination were those who would lay on hard and stand on their heads, but there was something so attractive. Those yogis, what kind of yogis? Do they lay on nails? And she was saying, you have to learn a mantra. We were 20, and we were told, you have to learn the mantras, and you have to chant it in a round. Of course, we didn't have any beads, so we took just, sometimes you could see Catholic beads, but this is a very rare thing. We would take plastic beads. And we were invited to the meeting, and she said there'll be yogis there. And me and my friend, we graduated from art school, and we were so interesting. And the yogis told us, you have to quit eating meat, drinking, no more eggs, no more fish. And we really liked it. And our friend said, if those yogis start singing, you sing after them. We were surprised. Okay, yogis singing? Okay, well, if you have to, we will sing. So we had complete faith. Everything was given to us, we would accept right away. We're told they will start singing, and then you sing alone. And then the first day, we were taught pretty much how to lead kirtan. And we really liked those people. And those people were extraordinary. They were just like aliens. They were, first of all, attracting with their purity. Those people didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't use cuss words, and they were attracted by some kind of knowledge. Because this knowledge was completely unknown to us, some kind of Sanskrit. We didn't understand anything, but it was all attractive. And then we didn't have any books with songs. We just would write down everything in notebooks. We wanted to learn the words and sing along. And then we right away started chanting mantra. As we were told, you have to chant 16 rounds. We had beads after our friend that passed away. She left Catholic beads, and we connected them, and then together started chanting 16 rounds. How did we do it? She would chant 16 rounds and pass on to me. I chant 16 rounds. So we had so much enthusiasm. This transcendental knowledge was somehow acting on us. And as Parjanya Maharaj said, he was like on drugs after prasadam. And the same with us. We were just in pure ecstasy, like we had taken something. It was unclear where this ecstasy was coming from. So this enthusiasm entered us and wasn't letting go of us for a long time. As you imagine, for the beginning, when new people join, they start getting purified and they're just completely flying. And then as time goes by, their purification goes in more inside, and it's not as clear. So all those devotees, they were beginning, they were just so full of enthusiasm. And most importantly, there were no selfish interest. There was no selfish desires. Because it was so dangerous. It was completely illegal. It was the time of atheism. We couldn't do it officially. At that time, there was Cold War between America and Russia. And everything was coming from the US, and it actually came from the US because Srila Prabhupada came from America. So this was all complete illegal. In our country, they were saying that this is CIA. And in America, they were saying that Hare Krishna is coming from KGB. We actually found an article about it, because materialists from all over the world, they just couldn't figure out, because this spiritual knowledge was so foreign to material knowledge. So they were really suspicious of us. People who accepted something from the West, they thought that we were planning some coup. So all the people who were practicing Krishna consciousness by chanting mantra, not eating meat, associating, they were all under suspicion for having some foreign espionage. And when we were living in a community in Kurjinovo, there were so many devotees, and there was, now there is a encouragement to live far from the cities, on the land, and at that time it was the same thing. Let's all go in a village. And then in Kurjinovo there was a place, some heard about it, it still exists. There's to this day many devotees who live there, and Japa lived there, and he had a house there. And then later on we all went to court. I went to court, I was judged there. First, there were 5 of us, and they used, what they used was the breaking of the law by causing intentional damage to the body under the pretense of religious practice. Because they were saying that those people, by starting to use this religious practice, they became crazy and then they got affected and they were trying to use it against us. So in Kurjinova, there were court hearings. And then, as Parjanya Maharaj was saying, there was complete fearlessness. As you know, when you, for just being a positive person, are under the danger of being put to jail. Can you just imagine it? It's hard to imagine nowadays, because they were saying that this is the danger from the West. And it was turning out that we were all under investigation for this. But nobody said anything against. Because you could just say, yes, this mantra is very bad, I have nothing to do with this. And they would let go of you. That's all you had to do. And you just had to say a few words. Yeah, they cause great damage. After this, people become really crazy and they become affected. But all the people who joined at that time, they were fully immersed into Krishna consciousness. And not a single person agreed to say anything bad about it. So for that reason, they were all going to court. I can share something about Japa, because when he went to court, and this is the court records I was actually copying. He lived in a village, and there was one store there, and there was one witness whose last name was Black. He was the manager at that store, and he said he left a report saying that he came and was paying with large bills only. Can you imagine how suspicious? You had only large bills to pay for groceries, and it was very suspicious. And then I shared as a joke. He probably doesn't even remember it. This witness Black was telling us. I'm just showing you as an example of this nonsense. So Japa was home, and he was deep into the piece of land. He wasn't just by the gate. And he was saying, I was passing by, I looked into the window, and I saw that he has a hole dug in his room. Can you imagine how dangerous it is? No, he was actually trying to make a water well. But Mr. Black, put it all into his house and his imagination, and it was all suspicious. And he was actually saying, and on the table he had a hat, and under the hat there was a walkie-talkie. So they were trying to say that since we live up in the mountains, we had the walkie-talkies to connect with other countries. This was, of course, never confirmed, but I'm just telling you how absurd this all was. And we were living in this situation. And us all would say that this fear wasn't in our hearts, because Krishna entered us, and we were completely fearless. We would go to court, we are gonna get judged, and we're going there with my girlfriend, laughing, joking. Later on, as time went by, I realized that it was Krishna who protected us, who gave us the strength, this inspiration. And for that reason, I am wishing you all to have it throughout your whole life, this strength, this inspiration to overcome all obstacles, because all kind of seductions come to your lives. Now it seems to be maybe even harder because everything is easy, very easy-going and available. So we have to really appreciate it. And I would like to also add that since then, it's very important. I always talk about it. It's very important to have friendship amongst Vaishnavas. All of us who began together, we are all friends. Maybe we don't see each other very often, but we support each other. And I wish you to have really close friends amongst Vaishnavas, those devotees who will always support you, those who will be your shield, who will be able to understand you. It's very important to have those people in your life, because there are so many Vaishnavas and we are all different. But I'm thinking, how did Krishna get us all into one place? All Vaishnavas are so different, different education, different upbringing, but Krishna is all attractive and he unites us. Parjanya Maharaj wanted to add something. Thank you. I see that it's getting a little boring here, so I will entertain you a bit. I'll entertain you. I will tell you that now many great people, Panditas, and I'm paying my obeisances to them. They have great intelligence, they have depth of thinking, and it's really inspiring. The first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam says that the super soul inspires us for all our actions, so we can't take credit for anything. He is the one to blame for everything. Please remember that. He is to blame for everything, for this and that. This is his scenario. This is his direction. We all somehow got into one place where he wanted to act out some leelas. I would like to tell you one story, and it was really memorable. At that time, I had a business of costume jewelry, and at the time it was hard, really hard. One had to just do something, and we used that money to print the first Bhagavad Gita in the USSR. And KGB had this task to arrest us for some criminal action. Find something illegal in our dealings. Not religion, but something that can easily be judged. And they can say, oh, now we punished you. And Krishna is so amazing. We had one mantra, protective mantra, Krishna Keshava Pahiman, and we trusted it so much that if anybody asked Major Dvajo, Ambarish Prabhu, will we have weather, will we have luck? He said, they would say, go to Parjanya, he will talk to Keshava. And this was our highly fanatical mindset. And then somebody snitched on me. One of the people that we knew, I was in my car. I had 5,000 rubles at that time. It was a lot of money, and 2 bags of costume jewelry. Can you imagine? This was at least 5 years that I could easily get for that. 5 years in prison. And they would be very happy to do that, because the son of a person who was into religious life was very easy. My father was into religion, but Yamaraj was a son of KGB agent, so it was very easy to say that he was just crazy. So they had to get rid of me. So in Abkhazia, there is one place, as you go in from Sukhumi, there's one place called Mother-in-Law's Tongue. I apologize for this slang. And there was there were the police officers, about 17 of them were waiting for me, and they stopped me. Can you imagine? in a trunk, I have 2 bags full of costume jewelry. And it wasn't just a lot, maybe 3,500 worth of rubles, but at that time it was a lot of money. And they stopped me, saying, "Hi, we've been waiting for you for a long time." And they just speak it as it is. "Open your trunk." So somebody actually snitched on me, and I actually know who it is, and this person is still in devotional service. Krishna allowed him to do that. So what to do? Krishna Keshava Pahiman. There's all that's left. I'm thinking, is it really? You gotta make it so that they will arrest me over some silly thing like this? I understand if it was something really big that I did, but this is just embarrassing. Over costume jewelry, and you will make it happen. Oh, I don't believe it. Krishna Keshava Pahiman. And this big guy, the police officer, was there. "What are you doing?" He's asking me, "What are you doing?" And I'm asking, "What? I'm praying? I'm not allowed to?" And he said, "Better do it quietly." So I spoke up. And I'm watching, and I see that there is a truck running. You have to just get into this mode of consciousness when there is nothing other than your personal scenario. Krishna is just so amazing what he was manifesting. You can see a truck with an open back part, very loud, empty and very loud, and going there very fast. And then there's a police, a road police station, and they say, "What is he doing? Stop him!" And they're just directing, screaming, whistling, blowing the whistle. And Krishna got them all attracted. And I have 2 bags of costume jewelry right there on my trunk, and a police report that's getting filled up. So I'm thinking, what is happening? All I can see is the truck and those 2 bags of mine. And I'm thinking, what is the connection between the two? And you know, this wasn't even thinking. It was just a state of mood. And he started slowing down, and those police officers are running after him just to stop him. Everybody in one voice. Kshatriya mood, they get very easy. And then the trunk starts slowing down, and I'm telling you honestly, it wasn't my idea. I take those 2 bags and I throw it into the trunk of this truck. It wasn't my idea. And then all of a sudden, what do you think? What happened? He sped up and went away. I'm thinking, oh, Krishna. You can make it. I'm thinking that I'm having a different dialogue. You can really do it. Great. Now I have lots of adrenaline in my blood. And then they come back. I wrote down his license plate number. He'll get fired. He'll lose his driver's license. He'll get punished because ego is screaming. So now they come. I said, okay. Now back to you. Where are the bags? I'm saying, what kind of bags? What are you speaking about? What kind of bags? What are you crazy? And I'm starting already attacking him. I said, I will not let go of this. You are being discriminatory of me. This is a discrimination based on my racial heritage, because at that time there was the influence of American culture. It was a big problem if anybody is discriminatory based on ethnic or racial background. They were asking, where are the bags? And there was They were looking all over, trying to find his bags. But all this costume jewelry went away. There wasn't a single piece left. Nothing came out. Everything disappeared. So we spent another hour in conflict. I took away my passport from that person. I said, if you don't want to lose your job, give me my passport back. And this you can put on your wall. And they said, we'll put you in prison. I said, okay, go ahead. Do your thing. And I'm driving, screaming, Krishna, you're so mighty. You're so great. And I'm going forward, and then I can see that truck. And I turn, stop, and I can see that truck parked. I climb on top, see my bags. There they are. You won't imagine how happy I was. I thought only you could have made this happen. I grabbed everything, put it back, and went away. When I told devotees, they were cracking up. Krishna would organize such things. Ambarish, late Ambarish Prabhu, was a person who was always trying to adapt Krishna consciousness to our lives. He would always dare. And I'll tell you one more story, which was very interesting, if you have enough patience to hear it till the end. Is it okay? You have time?
Okay.
We had one devotee who was an informer. We knew that that's his weakness of heart. He would hear from KGB and tell us. And what he would hear from us, he would tell them. He was a double informer. And of course, they demanded some information from him. What is going on with us? And then once Ambarish told me, tomorrow we have to take 30 books, 30 Bhagavad Gitas. Actually, it wasn't 30, it was 175. I'm looking at him thinking, what are you doing? And I'm looking at him with eyes, and he's looking away. Okay, tomorrow, can you do it? I said, okay, of course I can. Ambarish, 30 books. And I thought, he had some kind of idea, because before we were discussing that I would take 2 bags, each of 50 Bhagavad Gitas, and a backpack. So altogether, as you can imagine, 23 kilos one bag 23 the other, and then 75 books in a backpack. So Ambarish, I don't know how he did it. We looked away and he disappeared. Ran away very fast. Thinking, what are you doing? Do we have too many books? They can all disappear. Like that. We had to go through that city and send the books to a different city through boat. And that was our mode of doing it. He said, I dare you. I dare you to trust him. I'm completely stunned. Asking him, will you go with me? Yes, I will. So we went the next day in the morning, and Krishna arranged it. First we saw those agents. We saw their car, and then the leader of the KGB agency was there. I stopped and started backing up. Ambarish, they're waiting for us. Didn't we know that they would wait for us? He's telling me, he's asking me, will you pass between them? Can you imagine? He would force us to really surrender. At what cost it will happen? It didn't matter. We needed to have Krishna appear in our lives, to manifest himself. Don't you know the mantra? Yes, I know. So I took away this backpack, took these 2 bags, grabbed them, very heavy, but at that time my body was still strong, I was young. And Krishna. And you know what? Miracle happened in front of me. There was a road that was going in 2 directions. One was going one direction, the other one into a different area. One is standing on one corner, the other standing on the other corner. It was impossible to pass by. They're waiting for us. And I'm walking and watching, and I could see this road. To this day, I don't know how Krishna arranged it, but this actually happens. That is the truth. One turned around, started looking for a bird on a tree or something, and the other agent turned around different direction, and I'm just walking past them without stopping. So I walked about 50 feet. I just walked through this line, and then I saw the pharmacy, and there was a pharmacist who worked there. It was our friend, and he was waiting for us. At that time, I got cracks on my hands from those bags. As you know, Mridanga players get cracks, and they put band-aids. In the same manner, he put the band-aids on my hands and said, "Don't worry, tomorrow it'll all disappear." And I'm walking back from there. This state when you feel like you're not even touching the earth, you're not touching the ground. And Krishna gives this energy on Sankirtana, as I think all Sankirtana devotees have this experience. So now I have all this energy. I have what to do with it. Now I'm thinking I have to make fun of them. As Mataji said, we weren't afraid. Krishna would inspire us. We had no fear. I don't know why, but those other prisoners would say that we are either saints or crazy people. But how can you be like this with KGB agents? They weren't afraid of the police, but they were afraid of KGB. I came back and said, "Hey, what happened? What did you find there?" They were so absorbed in their meditation, they didn't notice anybody. They asked me, "Where you come from?" They said, "I'm coming from there." "Where's your car?" I said, "My car is parked over there." "Okay, let's go to your car." And then their boss joined, and then we all come as the KGB agents, and Ambarish is sitting there. He had an amazing smile with his eyes only. I have never met anything like that. He knew how to respond with his eyes. And we looked each other in the eye. Yes, everything is okay, everything is fine. We understood each other. And Ambarish is asking from the car, "Hey, how are you?" And the question, who was praying more, me or Ambarish? But this actually happened. And the result is such. "Okay, open your trunk." He said, "Here are the keys, you can open yourself, do what you want." "Okay, go ahead. Open the trunk, it's empty." I said, "I hope you don't need a spare, because we have different cars." "Where are the books?" He's asking me. I said, "What kind of books? What are you talking about? What kind of books? We came here to have cheese samosas. You know, they make very good cheese samosas around the corner." It was a very famous cafe around the corner. Everybody knew that they make good cheese samosas. So nearby there was one recreation center, and then one guy, very big guy, came out, and he walks very seriously. And I could see that he is an important person. And at that moment, I start talking about racial discrimination. Hey! And there was a small woman next to him. And you could see that she was just so mesmerized by him. He said, "Oh, I think they're addressing you." He turned around, looking. I'm saying, those people are not letting go of me. I know I'm a religious person. I can't commit suicide, but they just can't stand my race. I was born without them. What right do they have to tell me how to live? I can see that you are a deserving person, and you can definitely stop them. My intuition was telling me. At that moment, this small woman is saying, "Aren't you gonna do something about it?" He went from this woman and came with a serious voice saying, "Who are you?" And then, "Who are you?" And he takes out his identification card, and he said, and he turned out to be a KGB agent. I was saying, "Thank you, comrade. You are an amazing person. Can I go? I'll pray for you." He's asking me, "Do you have your documents?" Yes, I have my documents. Okay, you go. I'll have a serious conversation with them. Then they would ask him, "Ambarish, please calm him down." Krishna would give us so much of this inspiration, we can say now. But it was real, true adrenaline, pure adrenaline. When you're jumping in a car, and then you see one way there's KGB car, the other way KGB car. Anywhere you go, there's KGB car will follow you. 2 KGB cars after one person. That means 8-10 people were watching each of us. They had a job. So KGB fell apart, but Krishna consciousness is growing. There are many such episodes. Krishna to this day doesn't let go of me. It's very interesting. And now I have very bad habit. I seduce everybody by saying, as Ambarish told me, "I dare you." This is very hard, because those who want to be in a comfort zone can do it. But if you just try to make a step towards him, you will understand what I was trying to tell you. Thank you, Hare Krishna. I dare you. Thank you very much for being here. I'm so happy to have your association. Hare Krishna. No, I have nothing to say. If someone wants to know something in particular, I can respond, but... And I think everybody's already happy and satisfied in Krishna consciousness. Nothing special. I just got here by accident, just by associating with devotees. I really like their association. It feels much more auspicious than any other association. And for that reason, I'm to this day in this society. Beginning from today, there is a new page of his life. We just have to occupy him with service. Please share the story of your association with Ananda Shanti Prabhu. Ananda Shanti Prabhu was, of course, a very special person. I think that it wasn't that. he
пытался что-то сделать, а он был
was
уже с прошлой
trying
жизни наверняка
to do
преданным.
something new. No, I'm
Я его
sure that
первый
from
раз
his
увидел
past life he was a devotee. The
в
first time I
августе
saw him
1977 году.
at an expo in
И чувствую,
77,
что чем-то он
and I
отличается от
felt
всех остальных.
that he was
Какой-то
very
такой вид у него был,
different,
как сияние.
not like everyone else. He
Что
had
они
some
делали, он
kind
был вместе с другим преданным, с Валмики
of
Муни. Что они
shining
делали,
around
они
him. He
читали
was with
Шримад
Valmiki
Бхагаватам, и они
Muni.
просто впились
They were
глазами
sitting there,
в этот
sitting,
текст.
reading Srimad
На
Bhagavatam,
выставке
and they were
книжной,
just
это было в
devouring
1977
it
году,
with their
BBT
eyes. It
выставлялась
was
в Москве, и
1977.
они впились
BBT
глазами в
had a
Шримад
stand
Бхагаватам,
at
и
an
ни на
expo
кого
in
не
Moscow,
обращали внимания, не
and they
поднимали
were
глаз, просто
staring at
читали.
Srimad
Минуту,
Bhagavatam,
20,
and they
30
weren't
минут.
even looking at
Вокруг
anybody.
толпа.
20, 30
Я
minutes,
подумал,
and then
что
there was a
просто
whole
иностранцы,
crowd forming
какие-то
around
особые
them.
люди.
I thought that they
У
were
нас
just
таких в Советском
foreigners,
Союзе нет.
very special
И
people,
тут же
that we didn't have
закончился
such
день
people in
рабочий, это последний
USSR.
день выставки.
And it was
И
the
они
last day
стали
of the
уходить
expo, and then they
домой.
started leaving,
Мы
going
все
home.
тоже их проглажали
And
глазами. И
everybody
услышали,
was
что один
watching
другому
them,
говорит,
and then
надо
they
зайти в
overheard
булочную,
one
куда-то
telling the
еще.
other, we have to go to the
И
grocery
сразу все
store and to the
повернули голову, как вы
pharmacy,
русские.
and then
То есть
everybody
никто не
turned
думал,
around.
что в
Are
Советском
you
Союзе
really
могут быть
Russian?
такие люди. Чем-то
Nobody
они очень
thought that it was
отличались,
possible to see
совершенно.
such people in
Точно
USSR.
инопланетяне.
They were just completely different,
А
like
Ананда Шанти
aliens.
Валмики Муни не говорил,
And
а
Ananda
Ананда Шанти
Shanti,
поворачивает
Valmiki
голову и
Muni
говорит,
wasn't even
ну,
speaking. Ananda
как
Shanti
бы
turned
с
around
желанием
and
начать разговор.
said,
Да,
with a desire to start a conversation. He said,
что здесь
yes.
странного?
And what's so
И там было всё
strange
странно,
about it?
просто
And
нельзя
everything
было
was strange
объяснить,
about
чем они
it.
отличаются.
It was just
И этот человек,
impossible
который
to
спросил
explain
мужчина, он
what was
говорит,
different about them.
а почему тогда вы
And
так замялся,
the
что
person
так
asked
вы-
them,
почему вы
and
так
he started
одеты?
doing words in his, why are you dressed in
Ананда
such a
Шанти говорит,
manner?
а
And Ananda
в
Shanti
Индии все
said,
так одеваются.
everybody is dressed
У него
like
не
this
было
in
ни
India.
куртки, ни курты, ни
He
ничего
he
такого
wasn't wearing
подобного, просто
kurta or
светлые
thodi.
брюки,
It was
светлая
nothing like
рубашка.
that. He was just wearing light color pants and a shirt.
Чем-то отличался
there
от
was
средних людей,
something
москвичей.
different. He wasn't looking like an average person from Moscow, even though there was nothing Indian about him. He said, everybody is dressed like that in India. And they asked, oh, you came from India. Have you been to India? And Ananda Shanti thought for a moment, and he responded, no, I have never been to India, but after a moment, he said, we have a lot of friends in India. And in that way, he went further, and that man wasn't asking anything. And a few other young people joined, and then he already started responding and saying something about yoga, that we are practicing yoga. And then I started a conversation with him. Right away, he surprised me with his appearance. He was different in some subtle manner. Maybe their faces were very spiritualized. Can you imagine those people reading Srimad Bhagavatam for 2 hours in the middle of Moscow? There was nothing of that level at the moment. And of course, he really took charge of me. He spent about 70 hours conversing with me, one-on-one, trying to change my convictions and to direct me to the right path. He said, I've been watching you for a long time, but I have high hopes for you. At that time, there wasn't a lot of people to preach about Krishna consciousness, and anyone who had the slightest interest and was asking questions was really a gem for him. For me, he was the very first person who answered lots of my questions, and with all his heart, he wanted to help him. First time I came to his home, it was already 11 p.m. And I was saying that the subway was gonna shut down soon. So I had a 40-minute trip home. And he said, oh, what are you worried about? It's okay. You can stay over. You can spend the night. You can chant with me. And I thought, first time I'm at his house and he's leaving me overnight. Of course, I was surprised, but I left that day. But he was ready to sacrifice quite a lot to go to a different city where there were people interested, to read till midnight, till 2-3 o'clock at night. His preaching was mostly reading. He wasn't just giving classes as we know them. He was just reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. Bhagavad Gita. He was maybe showing pictures when they had classes with new people. But when devotees stayed, he would read Chaitanya Charitamrita for 5-6 hours. Once he read for 13.5 hours non-stop. Everybody was already going to sleep. One would wake up, the other one would go to sleep. The whole night, till the morning, until the public transport started running. He was a very special person. He wouldn't even drink a glass of water for 13.5 hours. And of course, he already left because the owners of the apartment were already watching them and saying like, okay, the transport is running, it's time to go. If there was interest, if they were at the temple or surrounded by interested devotees, I'm sure he would have been reading for much longer. So he was a very special devotee. And once I asked him, somebody was coming, leaving, and I asked, is he devotee? Is he devotee? He's not a devotee. And then he cut me. He said, no such thing. Because I asked, he's already not a devotee. He practiced, but after that, he's not practicing, so he's not a devotee. He cut me. And he said, what do you mean? There are devotees and there are non-devotees. There is no such thing as someone who used to be a devotee and switched. And I think his destiny is in the hands of Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Please tell us, has he spoken anything about Srila Prabhupada? Yes. For us, Srila Prabhupada was guru. He would say, I have a guru, he's an Indian person, but he lives in America. And many people had a guru. For me, those words didn't seem like anything special. Okay, well, he has a guru. But there were two moments when he said about guru that for me really struck my mind. He showed his letter from Srila Prabhupada. In one letter, he gave general direction, and in the second, he said the following. He said, I am sending you respects from my friend George Harrison. And I thought, oh my God, George Harrison is a friend of his guru? What kind of friend? Oh, it's amazing. But if he's writing, that means he's a friend. And then the second, when the first time I met him at the expo, and we started speaking who they are, what they do, and he said, my guru, I have a guru, he's an Indian person, but he lives in America, and my guru, for me, found me a wife, and she's French. She's gonna come here and will help me preaching. And I thought, oh, how interesting. His guru found him a wife. Why? It was so interesting. Because he said, he pointed at Valmiki and said, well, he has an American wife and he's going to America in 2 weeks. And I thought, what an interesting movement or organization. And one has wife from America and the other from France. And I thought that maybe if I join them, then guru will ask me, do you want American or French wife? And then what am I gonna do? And I would think, don't you have a French woman with American passport? But of course that never happened to me. But actually, he found fictitious wives for many devotees to not have any problems with KGB, because if you have a foreign wife, then they won't be as severe on you. And your wife would be able to come, and then you would be able to travel. And this is the way that Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj went to Sweden, and then found a wife for Maheshwari. He wanted her to bring him over. And then also Malini. Malini left. She went to
Венгрию для того, чтобы
Hungary
ездить туда и обратно.
to go back and
Ей
forth.
тоже нашли мужа. Так
They found
интересно
her
всё складывалось.
husband,
То есть такие
and it was very
истории,
interesting how it all worked out.
что этот ее муж, несостоявшийся,
This
правда,
devotee,
из
it never
Венгрии
actually
остался
happened.
в России. Муж
She
попал
stayed
в
in
Россию
Russia,
совершенно как-то
but
необычным
her
образом.
husband got to Russia in a very unusual way. It was
За месяц
October
до
of
этого,
1980, and a
за
month
1,5
before
месяца
that,
до этого,
a month and a
Харикеша
half before
Свами
that,
и Киртираджа внесли в
Harikesha
черный
Swami
список,
and
до сих пор, что они не
Kirtiraja
могут возвращаться в
were
Россию
put
ни
on
под
a
какими
black
визами.
list that they couldn't come back
И
to
это был
Russia
как бы
under
единственный
any
канал,
circumstances.
не было
And that was
возможности
the
никому
only
приехать.
channel, and there was no opportunity for
Vishnupad
anybody else
говорит,
to come.
Харикеша говорит
So
своему
Vishnupad
ученику
said,
в
Harikesha
Венгрии:
Swami said,
а вот ты фотограф,
told
не
his
хочешь подать
disciple in Hungary,
фотографии
you
на
are a
конкурс?
photographer, don't you want to
Русское посольство,
try to
советское
participate
посольство
in competition by the
объявило
Russian
конкурс
embassy? Just submit
фотографий,
your
связанных
photos.
с
There is
венгеро-советской
a
дружбой. И он какие-то фотографии
contest
подобрал, послал,
of
занял первое
photos
место.
connected
Наградой была
to
поездка в
Russian-Hungary
Советский Союз.
relationship.
То есть никто
And
не
the
ожидал,
award
что он
was,
приезжает, что он
he actually got the
преданный.
first
И
place,
он
and then the
приехал,
award
у
was
него
a
уже был
trip to
маршрут,
Russia.
были там 4
So
города.
him being a devotee, he went there
3
on that
города.
free trip, and he
И вот
had to
он,
go
у
on an
него была
itinerary
задача
visiting 3
не
cities,
то, что
and
с
his
преданными
task
общаться,
was
их дух
not to
поддерживать, а просто
associate
найти себе
with
невесту,
devotees
привести ее
and
в Венгрию,
support them, but to
зарегистрировать
actually
официальный брак,
find
и чтобы это был
bride, bring
канал.
her to Hungary, and
Можно было и
register
письма передавать,
their
даже не было
marriage.
интернета, или
And
там
that would
по
be
телефону
channel.
ты
They would
можешь
be able
позвонить,
to
даже с
transfer
телеграфа.
letters. They
Сложно
couldn't
было.
just call each other. That was the
И
time. It was
вот
so
он побыл в
complicated.
Москве,
So he spent some time in Moscow,
и
in
в
Tallinn, and in
Петербурге, Ленинград тогда был.
St. Petersburg, which was called
Он встречался
Leningrad
с
at that
преданными,
time.
были программы.
He met, of course,
И он
devotees. We
много,
had
так
programs,
вот
and
на
he,
уровне вот, общения с преданными,
on the
сказать,
level of
что другие
association,
приезжали
told us
как
quite a
на
bit,
официальные
because
лидеры, а
others
он чисто вот как
came as
рядовой
leaders,
преданный,
but
с
he
ним
came
ходил
as an
пешком,
ordinary
поговорил.
bhakta, and we would just
Много
walk
деталей
around with
рассказывал.
him and talk, and he shared
Одно
lots
из
of
его
details with
замечаний в
us.
тот
One
момент
of his
было, я
remarks
спросил, что
was
почему у преданных
that
нет
when I asked him
иногда
why
согласия,
devotees
что
sometimes
каждый
don't have
хочет ставить свою
agreement,
точку зрения,
because
ссориться,
everybody
спорить, говорит,
wants
потому что у
to
вас нет
insist
знания
on his point of
философии.
view. And
Вы
he
даже
responded
Ананда
and
Шанти не
said,
знаете,
because
да?
you
Даже
have no
Ананда Шанти
understanding
не
of
знает
philosophy.
философии.
I
Он
asked,
всего
even Ananta
позиция
Shanti
была
doesn't know
такая.
philosophy? And then he
И он
said,
говорит,
even
что
Ananta
два
Shanti doesn't know
варианта. Если
philosophy.
учить
And
английский
he
язык,
said,
читать
you
Библию,
have two
либо
options.
перевести
Either
все
learn
на
English
русский
and
язык,
read all Prabhupada's
ждать,
books,
пока они
or
будут переведены, потом
translate
читать по-русски.
all the books
То есть его звали
and
Адигуру,
have them in
имя Адигуру.
Russian and read them all. His name was, that devotee's name was
Жил на
Adiguru.
ферме в Венгрии.
He lived at the
Так что вот
farming
были
community
еще
in Hungary,
браки.
and there were other marriages. So now you know what to get married for. Now it makes sense. Everything else is...
Есть один вопрос от Прабhu.
There's one question.
Hare Krishna Japa. Please accept my humble obeisances. I had the good fortune of being friends with Valmiki Muni, who came to New York in 1974, or something like that. He was initiated in 77. We've created a website to remember his activities, some pastimes. We have pictures of Ananta Shanti and him, and I was hoping you'd say a little something about him. Thank you. Mandakini already said a little something, and also he has music. I won't play it right now, but thank you. I've waited 25 years for this moment. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Я по-русски буду говорить. Так ведь?
Вы переведете?
Ну, давайте я переведу. Ну, или переводчик переведет, я не знаю.
Ну давайте я
Вы
скажу.
давай переведите.
Who's going to
Прабху
translate?
говорит,
The
что
translator will
создали
translate.
сайт в память о Вальмики Муни Прабху. То есть это второй ученик Шрилы Прабхупады.
This is the second, Valmiki
Он был
Prabhu is the
инициирован
second
по
disciple
письму.
of Srila Prabhupada, who was initiated by the letter, and they created a
И вот
website
это
for
визитки,
him.
которые он хочет вам раздать, и вы можете
And
выйти
those
на
are the
веб-сайт
cards
и
that he wants to pass
посмотреть
by, that you can
подробно.
go and visit that site and get all the
Спасибо.
details about Valmiki Muni Prabhu.
Actually, I know you. You're a friend of Хамсагати. Yes? Are you friend of Hamsagati?
Him too, but I'm talking about Valmiki Muni.
Yes, but you are friend of Hamsagati, yes?
Yes, sir.
And I called you once about Valmiki, like 1 year ago. We spoke. Yes. So, я буду говорить по-русски, правильно? Правильно?
I'll speak Russian.
Валмики Муни на самом деле
Valmiki Muni was
Махамантру ответил на 3-4
the one who gave me Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and he answered a few of my most important questions. I see him as my, if not Vartma Pradakshaka Guru, but one of the devotees who brought me to the movement. He was one of those who were at the expo, and then he was already initiated. But nobody told us anything about their initiated names. He was Vladimir Sakharov, and he was a guitar player from a famous band called The Flowers. And this whole band knew about Hare Krishna, and 3 of the members started practicing very seriously. They became vegetarians, stopped smoking, and were chanting 16 rounds. And even the leader was at some time saying, we are just singing those karmic songs. Let's sing about Krishna. And the band name, The Flowers, let's change it to Gun Harvest. That was his idea, to become Gun Harvest and to sing about Krishna. But that never came true. Stas Namin, the leader, was from a very high-up family. He was a grandson of a famous person who was in Soviet times from 37 from very turbulent times, from the government or rule of Lenin was there during Stalin, and then Khrushchev, and lived all the way to Brezhnev. So he was in the government all that time. He was in the higher upper levels of society. So it was this kind of family, it was pretty much impossible for him to go to Krishna consciousness. His uncle was the one who gave, whose name was used to call an airplane. So somebody had to really fight for his beliefs. Now nowadays he remembers those days as something positive, but he let go of the idea to change the band to Gun Harvest. And from that band, only Valmiki Muni became an initiated devotee. He actually went to America, and he's so proud about it, because he had that fictitious wife, American lady. He went there once, twice, 6 months in America, 6 months in Russia, again 6 months in America. And then he was supposed to come back and then spend 6 months in Russia and then go back to US. But at the time, there was a belief that they might not let you go for the 3rd time. They might not let you out of the country, and then they can destroy your marriage. And then he decided to stay illegally, without any documents, without visa, without profession, without any right for work, no working permit. And then he stayed at the temple for some time. There were some conflicts, and they asked him to move out. Then he stayed for some time with his friend. I don't remember the friend's name. Yudhishthira, his name was. He lived not far from Watsika Avenue in Los Angeles. He had his own house, and he had a garage. And then usually, it's in America, it's turned into an apartment. So lots of times he would stay there. And I saw him there when he already lived outside, just in front of Yudhishthira's house. There was a cover for the rain, and then he would keep his stuff there. I came to Yudhishthira asking about Valmiki, and I didn't know where to find him. And he would actually stay under the stars, and he had one bag of possessions, and He
По крайней
came,
мере, Прабхупада для него был, ну, как самое дорогое. Потом еще раз я
he remembered, and then he was saying that Srila Prabhupada was the most precious value for him. And then once again, I came with some Russian Mataji. And then after some time, after a few years, after the second time I met him, he left the body, just completely forgotten. And one Mataji, Prabhupada's disciple, one Mataji, her name was Gaur Premanandi Devidasi. She said, I offered him a fictitious marriage to legalize him. I said, I'm not asking you for anything. Let's just get married, I'll help you. He said, no, no, no.
То есть она, наверное, много знает о нем.
She probably knows quite a lot about him.
У него, кстати, тоже была семья
He
непростая.
was actually not an ordinary family. His stepfather,
Он был
who married his mother, he was the minister or vice minister, and at that period of time. Please share your experience of your association with Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj. We became friends. The question was that about my association with Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj, how we became, our relationships developed. We became friends because we stayed in the same room in a dorm. For me, he was the best university friend. 3 months ago, it was 50 years since we met. They were trying to move me at the dorm, they were trying to move me to his room. And I said, no, you're not allowed to move from one room to the other. Those are the dorm rules, you're not supposed to. Then second time they tried to move me, and I refused. And then for the third time they tried, and they said, you have no other option, you have to move to his room. And then I went to his room, and I saw him. As he wasn't right away very friendly, I became friends with 2 other students. And he was just sitting in his corner, reading, drawing, doing something. But then later on he would look at me, and we started communicating. And then for some reason I became interesting for him, and he was interesting for me from the very beginning. And of course he was someone who gave quite a lot to me, his thoughts, his remarks, his corrections of my words. They were really changing me. And then he took care of me. And then after 1 month, maybe after even a week, he asked me, how do you like St. Petersburg? And that's the city where his parents and his sister lived. I was like 7 hours away from Moscow. I would say that I heard it's a great city, and the people there are more educated. And he asked, what? You've never been to Leningrad? No, I've never had a chance. No, you now, after 1 month, we'll have 3-day vacation in December, and we will go there, and I'll show you around the city. I thought, what do you mean? How you just made the decision? It's not your apartment. Your parents are there. You have to talk to them first. Whether it's convenient, are they allowing this? And he said, no, it's okay. I'll tell him you're my friend. We don't have to even ask. I'll just bring you over, and you will stay with us. You'll be our guest. And this is how I met his father, mother, sister, and then of course he showed me the city. And then the following summer, I told him, now you have to visit my hometown. And we had a very close relationship. So when I started chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, he started asking me, where do you go every Wednesday at 6? I never told him where I was going, and I wasn't even telling him that I'm going anywhere, but I asked him, how do you know? He said, it's hard not to figure out. Every week at 5:30 you start rushing somewhere. And this happens every Wednesday. Said, we were just getting together with people who practice bhakti yoga, and there's a mantra, and there's a good recording for it, and we listen to it on a stereo. If you're interested, you can come. No, I don't need this, He said, right away said, no, I'm not gonna go, but I'm just curious what it is. And then I showed him Bhagavad I showed him Easy Journey to Other Planets, and when he saw Srila Prabhupada, he said, oh, what a spiritual personality. He had some kind of trust for me, and I had complete adoration of him. So we had this friendship that's staying intact for 50 years. He was, of course, devotee from previous life, and then I somehow got moved to him. So now he's saying that I introduced him to Krishna consciousness. No, I was just around. He was born on a day when Srila Prabhupada was born, 60 years later. So in the horoscopes, they are the same signs. The days of horoscopes are the same days. Chinese horoscope is the same size, the sign of the year, which changes every 5 years, changes the color. So white horse, red monkey. So after 60 years, it's supposed to be the same one. And so he has the same astrological science as Prabhupada, and not far from India, because he was born that it's almost the same time, Tashkent, Uzbekistan, and India. So he came for our benefit, it's clear, and I was just next to him for him to watch me over time. As we have like experiences over guinea pigs, now they watch whether they survive or not, and he watched me, and so I survived. No KGB, no madness, no psychological disease, and then he decided to also join. So I'm very happy that I got to associate with him. Hare Krishna. I think it's already time, no? You probably have a schedule. We have time till 2 o'clock. Let's say we have 20 minutes more. Maybe Parjanya Maharaj will tell you something to entertain you from the sad topics that I'm discussing, no? Because actually, quite a lot of devotees already left their bodies in a way like Ananda Shanti, all alone with nobody around, like Valmiki Muni, all alone, as Ananda Vijaya, tragic death. Nobody was around. Arjuna got burned because he was working as a controller. He worked, and his job was a security controller. And his place where he worked, there was a explosion of a gas tank, and the whole place got set on fire, and he left the body there. That was the first devotee in St. Petersburg. For example, Ambarisha, that Parjanya Maharaj was talking about, he just went to sleep and never woke up. Atmananda Prabhu ate some prasadam, and then nothing bad can happen from prasadam. But it was bad, I don't know what the details were, and he left the body. So I have mostly sad topics to tell you about. Then please tell us about KGB. It was called, amongst ordinary people, known great bastards, even though they called themselves knowing good barriers, because they had actually two higher educations. They would always graduate from university and then also take second education. I had very negative experiences dealing with them. Nobody helped me. They only scared me. They would tell me that Kirti Raj, he's a CIA agent, and Vishnupad Harikesha Swami is an agent, but we just have no confirmation that he is a CIA agent, and we're very suspicious. And then I was asking, what's your proof that Kirti Raj is an agent? Well, I can't tell you, because by doing so, we will open up our system of collecting information. And it was serious. Those weren't the higher up KGB agents. They were mid-level KGB agents. At the city level. And they were told that this is CIA, but at the higher level, the high up ranks of KGB knew that there was nothing connected to CIA, that our task to first destroy it all and then to build it up under our control. They had actually two parts of KGB that were dedicated to religion. And the boss of the second agent came to me and asked, what is the second agency for? He said, it has to do with unregistered religious organizations. First was dealing with officially registered religious organizations, and second was dealing with that. And then they weren't thinking that it had anything to do with CIA. They knew it was a religion that could change the minds of people, could change the mood and the reasoning behind actions. So they were directing the actions. For some, they were giving them motivation to lose faith. They would say, oh, if you want career in the religion, we can give you a job as a priest. And then they told one priest, we're not only removing you from your position, but we are actually going to give you a lot of trouble if you're going to support Krishna consciousness. Yes, they had pressure points to get their job done. But for me, I have no good memories about them. Once they brought me to KGB. I went to visit a friend. Well, not actually a friend. I hardly knew him, but I needed to give him something. Is that something interesting? Do you want to hear about it? So there was a new city, far away from all main roads, and I never went there. Maheshwar told me, are you going to that area ever? It's far away. What a shame. Why? What happened? I'm asking. There's a devotee there who received initiation, but we can't contact him. We are sending him letters and he's not responding. It's far away. Everybody had jobs. I was the only one who wasn't working, and Vrindavan wasn't working. So we couldn't just go, and maybe you can just go out of your way and see him because he took initiation. And I thought, okay, I can help out. I'm going to his place and I'm screaming, hey, anybody home? And then two heads show up out of the open door, and there is a man and a woman, and they're looking at me very, very suspiciously. I'm saying, oh, is Viktor Alexeyev here? And asking me, and who are you? I'm asking, does he live here or not? Well, who are you? They're asking. They're not responding anything. They're just trying to find out who came. I said, I'm his friend. Well, I actually know him. You know him? Aren't you Hare Krishna? I thought that something is very strange here. So they brought me to KGB because they were told if anybody comes, any suspicious person, don't call the police, take him directly to KGB. And everything was fine with my documents. I was registered in the city, I have a job. And here I'm on a business trip. I'm just coming back from a business trip. They say, no, you can't let go of him. He has a whole backpack full of books. You have to arrest him. You can't let go. Well, they let me go then. And the KGB agent was honorable. He said, we wrote down his details. If we need to, we'll find him, but now we have no reason to arrest him. And the situation had happened before. It was very hard for his parents. I don't know what exactly happened, but this person, Viktor Alexeyev, was at a mental hospital. Maybe something happened to him or his parents sent him there. So KGB told them, if anybody comes, take them straight to us. So let's move on to your questions. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you so much. It's very important to hear your memories and your instructions. What is the most important in your experience? According to your experience, what is most important in the movement that you have taken out of your experience, and what would you like to pass on to us as your instruction? If each of you could say something, I would be very appreciative. Oh, I can't just say about one thing. Okay, let me name three. It's very important to know the philosophy really well, as it is. Very important to have friends of your level, not those who are senior or junior to you, but those of your level, that when you have a hard situation, you can take advice. And of course, number one, being guru. Hare Krishna. The setup against me. He's already fixed himself. Okay, now he's afraid of me. Answering your question, I started thinking once and realized that. Thank you. Now he won't be able to do anything. I realized one thing, that over this time, over those years, I learned to show gratitude. And that is protecting me. It is inspiring me, and it gives me the opportunity to feel on a subtle level. And I feel that in that mood of gratitude to Prabhupada, to spiritual master, to the devotees, to the whole universe. In this mood, I am not only protected, but I am remaining under some perspective in some way. Friendship is very easy to cultivate in such a mood, without any expectations, and realized that I shouldn't be a glass that needs to be filled up, needs to get from others. I realized that I want to shine myself. Srila Prabhupada said that if you drip milk into the ink bottle, then even though it will remain ink bottle, it will be full of milk. And then he also said, when you help someone cross the road, you actually cross the road yourself. And for me, I realized that if I light up, shine bright, and help somebody else, that I help myself. And I stick to this principle. And this is this most important thing for me that I get out of Krishna consciousness. About KGB, I would like to say a few words to kind of clear the picture. It's not so scary. Ambarish and I were at KGB high up officials' place. They took everything from us. They took the foil. They took the sewing machine. Everything that they could confiscate, they did. And we were sitting there in his office with all our bags, books. We grabbed some books, beads,
Документы наши все
our
в этих
documents,
сумках лежат. И
they're
они
all in
настолько
those
вальяжно
bags.
себя чувствовали.
And they're just
И он встает,
so
вот этот,
relaxed.
хорошо помню, начальник отдела
And
КГБ, Вальтер Кагурадзе, и говорит,
I remember the
«По-твоему,
boss
вот
gets
на
up.
кого я похож?»
He
Он мне
said,
показывает, что
who
у
do
него
I think
сейка
I look
большие,
like? And
часы
he's
вот
showing that
такие,
he's
да,
got a
тогда
big
цеховики
watch,
носили, вот, то есть
very
богатые люди
expensive.
того времени, да?
That
И
kind of
болт
watch
на
that
пальце
only
грамм на 50, наверное.
rich people could wear,
И
and a
пиджак
big
был у
ring.
него,
And then
президент,
he
на
had
одной
a
пуговице двухбортный, да, вот такой. И вот
very
считалось, что
fashionable
если у него еще машина есть,
suit.
шестая,
And then if he also had a car,
то шоколаде
then it means that person was living the life.
все это было.
And he
И он
had it all.
показывает себя как успешного человека,
And he's showing himself as a very successful person who really can affect somebody's life. He's like, to you, who do I look like?
Хорошо, говорит, я бы первый занялся, ты понимаешь, говорит.
He's like,
Вот он мне говорит, на кого я похож?
who do I look like? Who do you think I look like?
Больной, не больной и так далее.
Do I look like a
Я
crazy
на
person
Амбарыша
or what?
посмотрел,
And I looked
он
at
мне глазами
Ambarish,
улыбнулся, мол, что мы теряем?
and he's telling me with his eyes, we're not losing
Я говорю, на
anything.
кофевара похож.
And I respond, you look like a
Не
guy
рано,
making
там
coffee.
Брехаловка была, и кофе по-восточному.
There's a cafe
Человек
around the
чуть-чуть
corner,
там похож был
and there is a person who worked there, and he would make
кофевар
coffee, and he
номера.
somehow slightly looked like the KGB agent. And he
Он
got
даже
so
вышел из кабинета.
angry. He even left the
Я говорю,
office.
там мои четки,
I
там
said,
документы.
Amba,
Бери, говорит,
my beads and my documents are
бери,
there.
говорит, пока
He
его
said,
нету.
take it, take them.
Все равно, говорит, если заберет,
I said, it doesn't matter if they take away from us, they take away, but we have a chance. So I open my bag, I take everything, my driver's license, documents, my Japa mala, even a few books I put in my jacket.
И сижу, в это время он
And I'm just
приходит,
sitting there, and then he comes back,
с этим, что на
he calmed
кофевара
down,
похож.
and he got the idea that he
В
looks
общем,
like
я опускаю сейчас несколько
like
лет.
a coffee making guy.
93-й год.
And then a few years go
Иду по
by.
Арбату.
In 1993,
Землячество
I'm walking
грузинское.
in the middle of
И
the center of Moscow, and there is an
конец
area of
93-го года.
Georgian people.
И к
End of
землячеству
93.
грузинскому подхожу,
I get
там
close
вижу, там
to this
Там
area
раньше будки
full of
были,
Georgian
знаете, на
people.
колесах
And
торговали,
they
вот
used to
всякой
have
всячиной. В Москве это было очень
trucks
распространено.
that they would sell different stuff.
Такие киоски на колесах.
You know, like
вот
little
всякие
kiosks
прицеп.
closed up.
А. И смотрю, так
And I'm-
лица знакомые.
Looking, and the faces look familiar.
И что вы думаете?
Now, what would you think?
Он варит кофе по-восточному.
He is making Turkish coffee there.
Это такая галька, знаете, с песком.
No, there's
Вот
a
это
hot
вот
sand,
подогревается, и там вот в этих
and it
маленьких
gets-
чашках
it
с пенкой
heats up,
кофе должно
and then they
получиться,
make
он должен
coffee
несколько
with
раз
a
подняться.
little
В общем, технология мне
foam.
понятна.
That this
Вот
is,
это
you know,
вот
they make the coffee. It has to rise
Yeah.
up a few times.
Гулидан Елгуджа еще был, это проректор был
And there was a-
Субтропического университета. Он ему
Was the dean
помогал
of
водку наливать.
subtropical university, and he was helping him to
Пришло,
pour
карма
vodka.
вышла, и
You know, the time came, the karma ran out,
я иду
and I'm
спокойно,
passing calmly,
мантру повторяю внутри,
chanting the
потому
mantra
что понимаю,
to
всё равно
myself.
нет, но бывших не
because
бывает,
I'm
да?
realizing there is no
Вот я
former
всё чуть-чуть,
KGB
потом иду,
agents.
и он так
And I'm
чик-чик-чик-чик,
passing, and he's making
поднимает,
coffee, rises up his eyes,
потом поднимает.
lowers, rises,
Елгуджа говорит,
and he's
это
saying,
он меня проклял.
hey, he is the one who cursed me.
Момент истины, понимаете?
That was the
такой.
moment of
И в
truth.
это время Елгуджа когда подходит,
At
обнял,
that
так,
time,
интересный,
the dean
хороший
comes to me,
человек.
hugs me. He is a
И
very
он
interesting
мастеру
person.
говорит,
He says,
Бог не Тимошка, говорит.
he says,
Он
God is
видит
not a
немножко,
fool.
понимаешь,
He
вот
sees
это.
everything.
У
Don't
тебя
you
есть шанс
understand?
отмыться, говорит.
Now you have a
Понимаешь, вот
chance
здесь,
to get
ты тоже
purified.
здесь,
There
и
he is
Бог тебя-
here, you are here,
Что ты
and God is
выберешь,
watching
говорит.
you.
Теперь
What
ему
are you gonna
говорит.
choose?
И
He's
в это
telling
время я
him.
его, оказывается, добиваю.
At that moment,
Елгуджа говорит, не
I
стой,
do the
он
last
успешный
straw. I said,
человек.
Dad,
У
don't
него
worry about
сейка,
him. He's a successful person. He had the watch, he had the suit, he had the ring. I think everything is fine. I just don't see the car, but there was a war there in that area, and the government changed, so a lot of people got kicked out. So he ended up at a Georgian area in such a position. That wasn't the last time that Krishna showed miracles. It's more interesting in Krishna consciousness to hear about Krishna. When the first time I got locked up, when they arrested me at my home, they put me in prison. I refused to drink, to eat. My father was a leader of the society, and a lot of people came to help me. And one of the police officers said, "Give me a chance. Give me a chance to make some money. There are 20 people sitting outside. If I tell them they give you money, all you have to do is sign a piece of paper that will say that you will never do this anymore. You don't have to snitch on anybody. Just say that you're not gonna practice this anymore." And that was after 4 days of me not eating, not drinking. And I was trying to run away from there, trying to make a hole in the wall with a spoon. But when I did it, there was a dog's face that appeared. And I'm in that state, really stomped my foot, and I said, if it was up to me, I would shoot you in your head, and you would stay alive and become retarded for the rest of your life. That was my youth, but it all came true as it was. Krishna made it all happen, as if he was just waiting for this ruling. During the war, he got shot in the head. He survived and became retarded. And for that reason, please, dear devotees, don't ever promise anybody anything. Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna fulfills all desires. And also, when they sent us to the mental hospital, there was the boss of the hospital. He thought himself a very intelligent person, but he had all signs of schizophrenia. Once, talking to him, I asked him, "You're an experienced person. You're the boss here, a big boss here. And the subtlest part of human psychology is entrusted into you." He's responding, "Yeah, I have education." Please tell me, can you diagnose someone if I just draw you a picture how a person acts? Well, it's actually better to see the person. He's acting very well, because in the future he has a chance to figure me out and then show himself to the government as a very successul specialist. So I am drawing him a picture of him, but he doesn't see himself. His actions, his moves, his speaking. He said, okay, enough. That's pretty clear. Yes, schizophrenia, yes. I said, how bad? Oh, this is paranoia. This is guaranteed, yeah, I'm sure. And if it's all as you said, then it's guaranteed paranoia. And there's nothing can be done about it. The medicine is trying to find some solutions. Maybe one day we'll be able to help those people. So I realized that I'm talking to a person who is completely crazy. He diagnosed himself. And after that, 16
Там
people
был с
came.
Москвы человек, генерал какой-то.
One general
Из
from
Тбилиси
Moscow,
были люди.
one
В
from
общем,
Tbilisi.
4 «Волга»
And there were
приехали.
4 cars full of
8-е
people.
отделение психушки было для
They came
преступников отдельно.
to this mental hospital, which was specially for
И
criminals.
вот меня выводят, погода
And they
классная, август
Take me
месяц.
out, it's
И вот
August,
во дворе стоим,
and we're standing outside.
и он решил, что это его звездный
And
час.
he
Перед
decided
этим
that
же мы
this is
много
his
беседовали,
time.
да?
We spoke out quite a bit. We talked to each other, and then now is his
Меня
chance
привести
to
в чувство, да?
really
А он
awaken me.
в глазах властей.
And then in the eyes of the bosses, he
Он
will
мне
be the
говорит,
star. And he's telling me,
ты человек разумный.
you're an
И папа
intelligent
у тебя,
person,
говорит,
and your
классный,
father
и
is
мама
very good,
хорошая,
and
и
your
брат
mother
у
is
тебя
good,
есть. То
and
есть
your
показывает, что он
brother.
осведомлен.
Hey, he shows that he knows about me.
Какой Кришна?
What kind of
Какой
Krishna?
Ох,
Krishna.
как я на него
And
разозлился.
I got so angry at him.
Думаю, если его ударить, заколют.
I
Ну,
thought, if
толку
I
посадят,
punch
я
him,
же уже видел
they'll
систему,
just
как
give me
работает.
injections. I know how this all
А очень
works.
хотелось.
But I really wanted to.
Настолько хотелось, что
I
я
really
просто-
had such a strong desire.
я плохо
that
себя чувствовал.
I was feeling
Очень
sick.
хотелось.
I really wanted to.
Так, слегка. И потом думаю, ну
I
нельзя
thought,
же.
no,
А
I
состояние,
can't.
знаете, очень чистое. Кришна
I'm feeling
старался
Great
сознание
purity.
не трогать. Тело
Krishna was
всякое видело,
trying to
а сознание
keep my
оставалось в
consciousness
хорошем
intact.
состоянии.
Even though my
в это
body
время
experienced a
Я
lot.
просто
At
ногой
that time,
толкнул так,
I just
хорошо
stomped,
помню. Не
as
знаю,
I
что
remember.
с этими ногами происходит.
I don't know what
Видимо,
happens
как
to
у
those
детей,
feet.
когда они
It's
нетерпеливы,
like, you know,
знаете, вот
kids,
что-то
when they
хотят,
can't
вот.
tolerate something, they just...
Видели, да, как дети
Have you
иногда
seen it?
сучат
Yeah, how
ногами?
kids do. They stomp their feet.
Была бы моя воля, говорю,
If it was
больше
up to
3
me,
дней я бы
you
не
wouldn't
разрешил
live
тебе топтать
more
эту
than
землю.
3 days.
И ногой двинула в
And
землю. Я не знаю, зачем
I
я это
stomped.
сделал, честно скажу.
I don't know why I
Через
did
3
that.
дня он умер.
After 3 days, he passed
Обширный
away.
инфаркт.
He had a heart attack.
Ничего не предвещало.
Nothing was
Здоровый был
indicating
человек.
it. He was an exceptionally
С этого
healthy
дня
person.
началось
After they,
паломничество.
the pilgrimage started
Там, в Дурке,
There,
живет человек,
at
которого
the
Бог
mental
слышит.
hospital. There is a person who is heard by God.
Поверьте, это были трудные времена.
This, please trust me, those are
Охрана,
very
еще
hard
одна охрана,
times.
еще одна охрана.
There was
Ну, у нас
security,
немножко
another
были
level of
послабее,
security,
чем
another
тюрьма
level of
до
security.
этого.
It was a
Но
little bit more
охрана была.
relaxed than prison, but there was quite a lot of security.
Вереница людей несут
And there was a whole line of
сыр,
people bringing cheese,
сулугуник, с которого молоко капает.
that's dripping
Фрукты,
milk,
овощи.
fruit,
В общем,
vegetables.
могу так сказать, что
As I can tell
у
you,
кого кошка заболела,
who had a sick cat, whose cat wouldn't have calves, whose son was drinking, who was on a level of getting close to divorce. I wrote them a secret mantra, Maha mantra.
Это только для тебя.
This is
Должен
only
выучить,
for you. You have to learn by heart,
а потом
chant,
бумажку сжечь,
and then
говорю, и над
burn
твоим пациентом вот так вот
your
это
paper
пепел
and then
развеять.
take the ashes and sprinkle over your
И
patient.
все получится.
And everything will
Веришь?
work out. Do you trust me? Yes.
Убедительная была история,
This is
потому
a
что
very
сказал 3 дня, через 3 дня умер.
Strong
Ну,
story. I
человек.
said 3 days, and then after
вот-
3 days he died.
Вот эти люди, они вместо
Very
хлеба уже
persuasive.
ели сыр.
And those people around me, they were
Были
eating cheese
на
instead of bread.
подоконниках, а грызки сыра везде лежали.
It was all over. There
То есть
were
они от хлеба отказались.
there were pieces of
Некуда было
leftover
девать,
cheese.
просада было
We
море.
had so much
Я
food we
хочу
couldn't
просто
eat it all.
сказать, что,
It was all prasadam
что
everywhere.
случилась засуха.
And then there was a drought at that time,
Председатель сельсовета Джумбер
and
и
the governmental
почетные члены этого
of the city
этого села
of that
добились
village
аудиенции у начальника отделения,
got the permission
милиционеров.
from the
В
police.
общем, сынок говорит, у нас дождя
They
нет.
came to me. They said, "We have no rain."
А я как будто на кране сижу, да?
And I'm like
Быть или не
sitting
быть дождю,
on
это от меня
a
зависит.
sink. Whether there is rain or not, it all depends on me.
От меня это как зависит?
And I asked, well, what do I
Вы
have
же
to do with
быка
it?
убили. Баранов
I said,
зарезали.
you already killed
Зачем
the
вы это
bull.
сделали? Нам посоветовали,
You
не
killed,
работает.
you did the
Значит,
sacrifice
это
of
была
a
сильнейшая. Это,
of an animal.
знаете, вот, когда
Well, why
бывает
did you
небо
do it? They said, well,
сапфировое
we got
такое, когда там ничего,
recommended
даже
to do
белых
it.
облачков
You know that
не
the
было.
sky
Вот
looked
такое
like there wasn't any clouds. It's
вот
completely
такой
blue.
зной был. И
So
это
much heat.
длилось очень много дней.
And this
И
was going on
кукуруза,
for
и
so many
фасоль, и
days.
тыква, все
This,
полегло у них.
everything got destroyed, all the
Мы
crops.
останемся без урожая, говорит, сынок, что
We'll have
делать?
no crops left over. Son, please
подумал,
tell
вы
us
всё
what to
равно
do.
в дурдоме,
I thought,
да?
I'm already at a mental hospital.
Я говорю, от меня что будет? Ну,
What will happen to
со мной
me?
ничего не случится, да, больше.
They won't
Ну,
do
побьют,
anything.
если
It
что.
can get
Ну,
worse. They'll
уже
beat
к
me up
этому
if the
как бы
worst.
был привычен.
I was already used to that.
Думаю, надо немножко похохмить, ну,
I have to make fun,
развеселиться.
entertain
Должен
myself.
уединиться.
I
Да,
said,
конечно,
I have to
конечно.
meditate alone. Yes, yes, yes,
Пошел
of
думаю,
course.
что же им придумать такое?
Thinking, what to tell them?
Food for Life у меня начался
So
оттуда.
my Food for Life started
И
there.
вот выхожу готовый.
I come out
очень
ready,
серьезную мину
very
такую,
serious
я
face.
думаю, в общем, найдите
I said,
30
fine,
семей
30 families
нуждающихся.
in need.
Есть, говорю, такие? Ну, есть, конечно.
There are such
есть
families, of
такие
course
семьи.
we have, yes.
Бутылка, знаете, литровые были,
You know, a
зелёные
bottle of,
бутылки раньше, они чисто литр были.
But 1 liter
Толстое стекло.
or glass
По
bottle
литру молока
of milk.
свежего.
Take them a bottle of
И
fresh
драндовский
milk
хлеб
each,
славился на всю Абхазию.
and
Это
this
2,5
famous
килограмма, вот такой хлеб.
bread that was
Неделю с ним ничего не
5
происходило.
pounds. It wasn't going
Они
bad
могли
for a week.
сесть, он
Really
опять
good bread.
становился таким же. И вкусный.
Very
очень вкусный.
tasty.
Я говорю, вот буханку
So
хлеба
take this bread
и литр молока.
and a liter of milk.
Занесете в эти дома 30
Take
семей.
each,
я имею в виду,
take to
ни
each of
одним
those
больше,
30
ни одним
families,
меньше. А до
not one
этого
more, not one
3
less.
человека
But before that, 3
ночью
people have to
должны
spend
молиться. Я
all
им
night
сказал, что
praying.
надо омыться,
I
желательно
told them, you have to
холодной водой.
bathe, preferably with cold water. I made all the fun I could.
Потом трое, говорю,
Then
должны ночью
those 3 people,
молиться.
they had to
Если
spend
кто-то
all night
уснет,
praying.
говорю,
If
считайте,
anybody
что
falls
сначала
asleep,
будет.
you have to start all over again.
Вот, верующие есть среди вас? Я скажу,
Are there
быть все верующие.
Faithful people amongst you?
Кто суеверный,
We are
кто
all
верующий.
faithful, some superstitious, some faithful,
Утром,
religious.
говорю, если после
So
этой
in the morning,
молитвы
after this prayer,
раздадите все это,
you
будет вам
you
дождь.
distribute all this, you'll have rain.
Так просто? Я говорю,
So
не
so
просто,
easy.
вам надо
I said,
ночью
no,
молиться,
not
говорю,
so easy. You have to
понимаете?
spend all night
Так,
praying
чтобы он вас услышал.
so
А
that
я
he will
помогу.
hear you, and I will help you.
Поверили?
They believed me.
Мантру взяли.
They took
Каждому
mantra.
отдельно, говорю, дам
Each
индивидуальную молитву. Если
Got
кто-то
a
кому-то
separate
покажет,
prayer. If
считайте,
anybody
что всё не
shows
так.
anybody else, then everything will go wrong.
Каждый понял.
Each
Я говорю, выучишь,
understood.
сожжешь,
You have
говорю,
to
и там
learn it by heart,
северо-восточном
burn
углу,
it,
говорю, вот так
and in the
сделай.
southwest corner, you have to sprinkle
Что-то
the
вот
ashes.
взбрело в голову.
I don't know, something got into
Всё
my head.
сделаем, говорит.
You will do
Если
it all.
чётко будете следовать
If you
плану,
follow
говорю,
the
всё получится.
directions, everything will work out.
Они всю ночь повторяли мантру.
They spent all night chanting mantra, the
Раздали
3 of
булку
them,
хлеба.
distributed the bread and the
Дождь
milk,
пошёл, знаете.
and the rain started.
Но, но это был не дождь, это
But
был
it wasn't.
ливень.
It
Они
wasn't
хорошо
just a
молились
rain,
очень.
it was an outpour. They prayed really
Через
well.
3 часа они
After 3
бежали,
hours,
бежали
they came
полом
running.
всей деревни,
The whole
смели
village.
вот эту вот охрану.
They just
Их
rushed
было
through the
4
security.
человека, они их просто убрали с дороги.
They completely removed them.
Убежали, сынок,
They
говорит,
came running.
хватит,
Oh, that's enough, stop it.
В общем,
So
сняли эту охрану тоже с 8-го отделения и говорит, что нам
they went
делать?
through the security.
Всё.
What to do now?
Лучше бы его не было, такого дождя.
It would have been better without such
А
rain.
как дождь получился? Ну ты же
How
нам
did it work
подсказал,
out? You
теперь
told
молитесь,
us.
что он...
Now, pray for it to stop.
Как? Точно так же.
So, how?
Бегом
The same
в ваш
way,
этот ленинский
run
уголок
back to your place
и молитесь.
and
и всё
pray,
получится.
and everything will work out.
Перестал дождь.
And the rain stopped.
После этого,
After this,
вы знаете, можно было открывать офис по любым
we
абсолютно,
could open the office for
по
any
любым
issue.
проблемам. И самое интересное,
And the
что
most
кошки
interesting thing is that
выздоравливали, коровы
Cats get
телились,
well,
Несколько
cows had
людей
calves, some
сыновья
people
пить переставали.
stopped drinking.
Вера, она делает
Just
чудеса.
faith creates
Поэтому, когда мы
miracles.
повторяем
So
святое
when we
имя,
chant the holy name,
пожалуйста, помните,
please remember
все могущество
that
Бога
all
в святом имени.
the might, all the power of the Lord is invested in this holy name. Srila Prabhupada gives us this opportunity to feel.
Кришна же сам
But
говорит,
how?
с чем ко
As
мне
Krishna
приходишь,
says,
на это тебе и отвечу. Да?
how you come to me, I respond. I
Ну
reciprocate.
вот с каким настроением мы к нему
So
придем?
depending on
так
which
нам и
mood we
отвечает.
address him
Поэтому
in.
по
He
вершкам
reciprocates.
если идем,
So if we just
на
go,
поверхности океана всегда пена, грязь и
on-
мелкая рыба, говорит
or if we
Прабхупада.
just go on the surface,
А кто
then on
хочет
top there are
кораллы,
only
жемчуг,
small
самоцветы
fish,
и крупную
as Srila
рыбу, это
Prabhupada
всё там
says.
на
And those who want
глубине.
to see large fish and the
Посвятите
corals,
эту
they have
жизнь,
to
он
dive
говорит,
deep.
преданному
Deepen.
служению.
Dedicate this life, as he says, to the devotional service. This is our natural
А вот не
propensity,
могу не
and everything
напомнить
else
один
will
стих
come.
из 4-й песни Шримад
And
Бхагаватам,
I have to
30
remind you
глава, 8
of
Шри Кришна так
4:30
очарован
of
этими
Srimad
прочетами,
Bhagavatam,
что он говорит,
fourth,
у вас
fourth canto,
дружелюбие
30th
такое
chapter.
большое, что, говорит, я очарован
Krishna is
вашим
so
дружелюбием, и у вас только одно
mesmerized by
занятие,
prachetas.
преданное
He's saying
служение.
you are just
Просите
so
любого благословения.
strong in your friendship. You have
Прабхупада
nothing
комментарий
but devotional
говорит,
service.
таких
Ask
людей
me for any
Кришна
benediction.
ищет
Srila Prabhupada
способ,
explains in the
чтобы
commentary.
осыпать его
For such
благословениями.
people,
А теперь
Krishna
вопрос,
is looking
что такое
for
любое
opportunities to
устав
give
Верховной Личности?
benedictions. And now I have a question.
если
What
вы
does it mean?
поймете, какого
Any
вы размера
benediction for
внутри,
those,
так и
for the
откликнитесь.
Supreme Personality
Хотите
of
стать Брахмой?
Godhead.
Да,
If you want to
пожалуйста,
become Brahma, then there is
самый
nothing,
маленький Брахма
not a big
здесь.
deal for him.
Индрой
If
вообще
you want
не
to be
вопрос.
Indra, not a
Хотите просто
problem.
быть нормальным?
If you just want to be normal,
Оказывается, все зависит только от того, как
so
мы
everything
соприкасаемся.
depends on how we
Если
connect to him.
дружелюбно,
If you do it in a
это
friendly
нравится.
manner, he likes it.
все, что нужно,
That's
просто
all that it takes.
постараться
To try
понять,
to
что вот эта
understand
аханкара, она
that this
действительно
ahankara
ядовитая.
is really
Её надо
poisonous, that we need to
Отпустить.
let
Пусть
go of
гуляет
it,
где-нибудь там.
to send it out.
Места много.
There's a lot of places.
Трудно. Но это
It's hard,
возможно, если
but it's
мы
possible.
утвердимся в том, что мы
If
факелы,
We
а не
really
чаши.
understand that
Это
we
спасибо
are
вам за
torchlights,
то,
not
что
glasses.
позволили это сделать.
Thank you for letting me do it. Hare Krishna.
Спасибо большое, дорогие преданные, вам за эти
вам
удивительные истории, за этот удивительный дух служения Шри Прабхупаде, который, безусловно,
Thank you,
проник
dear devotees,
глубоко в
for
наши сердца.
sharing your mood of service to
И
Srila
мы
Prabhupada that got
постараемся
into your
сохранить
hearts.
это до конца жизни.
We'll try to
Давайте
maintain
еще
it
раз
in our hearts for the
поблагодарим
rest of the
дорогих
lives.
преданных.
Let's once again show our
Nitai Gaur
gratitude to dear
Premanande.
devotees. Nitai Gaur Premanande.
И сейчас мы переходим к
And now we
следующему
will
блоку.
move on to the second part.
Не успели, да, мы?
Oh, we didn't have time
Давайте
to
хотя бы,
ask.
да,
Okay,
может
now
быть,
at least
несколько слов.
have a few
Мы
words.
немножечко задерживаем, но не можем,
We are running
не можем
late, but we
закончить.
can't stop here.
Я
Hare
совершенно
Krishna.
очень
I'm
коротко.
just
Что
gonna
я,
be very
как
quick.
сама живу и как
I'm
бы
speaking about
моя
how I live
реализация
and
и
my
как бы
realization
пожелание.
and my
Это
wish
всегда быть искренними
to
во всём.
always
Ну, то
be
есть, Кришна
um,
очень ценит
sincere. Krishna really appreciates the sincerity.
Второе, это
And the second thing is
всегда доверять Кришне.
to always trust
То есть
Krishna.
Кришна, он
Krishna
может, вот
He
Парджanya
can,
Махарадж, он,
as
у него
Parjanya
тысячи
Maharaj
примеров. То
has
есть мы,
thousands of
доверяем
examples.
Кришне.
We trust
У
Krishna.
меня даже есть свои. То есть
I
эта
have my
реализация,
examples.
что Кришна
This
может
realization
всё,
that
и,
Krishna can
просто
do anything.
нужно всегда ему доверять. Мы
We
всегда
always have to trust
думаем
him.
иногда контролировать ситуацию.
We're
но мы
trying
не
to
всегда
control
можем это
situations, but we
контролировать.
can't always do
И
it.
вот я вот пытаюсь в своей жизни
And I
доверять
try in my
Кришне,
life
вот как он поведет,
Trust Krishna,
и
how
тогда,
he will
так
direct
сказать, я
me.
уже принимаю
And
это.
then I
Вот.
accept it.
И еще третье, это
And the
вот
third thing is
моя реализация
my
такая, что
realization that
я это ощутила, эта
I
реализация,
felt
что
it,
Шрила
that
Прабхупада, вот
Srila
создав
Prabhupada,
Искон,
by creating
он
ISKCON,
нам подарил большую
gifted
семью.
us
Вот я
a
вам
big
желаю,
family.
чтобы все
I'm
ощущали,
wishing
что
you
вы члены
to
этой
feel
семьи.
that
Это
you
очень
are
важно,
members of
потому
this
что,
family. It's very important.
всякое в жизни бывает, и
Because different
люди
things happen
иногда
in life.
разочаровываются.
Sometimes people get
Кто
disappointed,
очаровывается, кто
some
разочаровывается.
get attracted,
Вот
some
если вы
disappointed.
будете
If
чувствовать,
you will
что это
feel
семья,
that this is a
вы в семье
family,
всегда, так сказать,
and in a
найдете
family,
кого-то,
you will
кто
always
вас
find
поймет,
somebody who will
примет
understand
таким,
you,
какой вы
will
есть.
accept you as you
Вот.
are,
И вы сможете опереться и
and
идти
you'll be
дальше.
able
Вот
to
я для
receive
себя это
support
осознала,
and
потому что
carry on.
где только
I
мы не
realized it for
бывали,
myself.
и всегда
We've been to
в
different
Исконе,
places,
там,
but there's always in
примут, там,
ISKCON.
просадом
We've been
накормят,
accepted,
тебя
we've been
никто
given
не знает, ты
prasadam,
приехал, ты
even if
член
nobody
семьи.
knows you,
Вот
you are
это
part of the
подарок
family.
огромный
This is a
Шрилы
big gift
Прабхупады нам.
of
Я
Srila
вам
Prabhupada,
желаю, чтобы вы это вот ощутили.
and
в
I
полной
wish you
мере.
to experience it fully. Hare Krishna.
Хари Кришна,
Hare
дорогие
Krishna, dear
преданные.
devotees.
Да, исходя из своих реализаций,
From
тоже
my
хочу
realization,
вам
I would
пожелать,
like to share with you
чтобы была вера в Кришну,
to have faith in Krishna, to have
святое имя,
faith in the holy
и
name,
всегда служить преданным, потому
and
что
to
вот
always
действительно
serve the
это
devotees,
наше
because
богатство,
this
это
is
наша семья,
our
и
fortune,
Кришне это
and this
нравится,
is our
когда
family,
мы
and Krishna
служим
likes this
преданным, и
when we
то, что
serve
он дает
devotees,
полную защиту, этих
and that
случаев
He
у
gives
нас у
us
всех много,
full protection. We have so
и
many
историй очень
situations and
много,
stories.
поэтому и
So
ну, как бы, да, я вам этого очень желаю.
I
И
wish you
хочу
this,
еще сказать,
and I would like to
вот
add
эти люди, которые
that
сидят
those
перед
people that are
вами,
sitting here in front of you today,
ну, вот эти,
they
вот, это очень богатые люди.
are very rich people.
Вот я помню, недавно был класс Урмилы Матаджи, она
I remember that
рассказывала 6
recently
видов
Urmila
богатств
Mataji had a
преданных.
class, and she was talking about
Вот
6
Japa,
types
Prabhu,
of
то есть,
opulences.
ну, это богатство,
And
да, разные
those
богатства.
opulences
Это
of
богатство
different types,
отречением.
opulence
Вот так
of
он мог ехать в
austerity.
любой город и
Japa Prabhu can go to any city
искать преданных
and find
и
devotees
помогать в сознании Кришны и вообще
and
вот
help in
богатство,
Krishna
это
consciousness.
преданные, это богатство,
And
правда.
this fortune of
Парджanya
devotees,
Maharaj,
Parjanya
у него
Maharaj,
семья
he has a
замечательная,
family, an
4 детей,
amazing
правда? Я не
family of
ошибаюсь?
4 kids,
5, да,
5
извиняюсь.
kids, please
5,
forgive me,
которые растут в сознании Кришны.
that are growing up in
Сколько-
Krishna consciousness. Yeah, officially.
Сколько он служения тоже
How much
преданным
service
делает.
he
То
has
есть
done
для
to the
преданных
devotees.
мы готовы
For
были действительно
devotees,
сделать
we
всё.
were
Вот
willing
все
to do
могут
anything.
подтвердить. Поэтому
Anybody
мы
will
шли
confirm
на
this.
что угодно, на
So
всякие
we would go
ну,
at
как,
all lengths
трудности,
to
экстримы, я
experience
даже не
all
знаю,
kinds
как
of
назвать. Потому
tribulations.
что лучше преданных ничего
Because
нету. Вот
there is nothing
действительно,
better than
Кришна нам это
devotees.
специально
Krishna
показывал,
has
что
shown
преданные,
us
они
that
были
devotees
необычные, они все
were
светились.
very
Я это
extraordinary. They
своими
were
глазами. То
shining
есть
bright.
это,
I saw it
ну,
with
не
my own
передать.
eyes.
И все преданные
It's
такие.
impossible
Ну, Кришна, он просто,
to explain
не знаю,
this.
он удивительно,
All
он
devotees are like that,
проявляется
and
в
Krishna is
преданных.
just so amazing.
Ананда
He
Чинмая,
really
она вообще
manifests
готова для
himself in
преданных
devotees. Ananda
сделать
Chinmaya,
всё, что угодно,
she's
помочь
ready
кому угодно.
to do anything for any
И вообще, то
devotee.
есть, правда, это,
This is-
ну, это надо ценить.
This is
Ну, и я
something
тоже,
that
если
we
бы
need
я,
to
наверное, не
appreciate.
служила
If
преданным,
I
и не
wasn't
было
serving
бы такого
devotees,
желания, я бы здесь
if I
не
didn't have such a
жила.
desire, I wouldn't be
То
living
есть я
here.
благодарна действительно
I'm
Кришне, потому
so
что я себя
grateful to
чувствую
Krishna
ну,
for this,
незаслуженной, как
because
царица
I
Двараки.
feel like as a queen of
Неофициальная, может
Dwarka,
быть, жена.
unofficial wife,
Вот, я живу во дворце,
I
у
feel
меня
like
есть
I live in
возможность
the
служить
in
преданным.
the kingdom
Я очень благодарна
and
Кришне вообще
in
за
the
всё.
palace, and I have the opportunity to serve devotees, and I'm grateful to Krishna for everything. Hare Krishna.
Харе Кришна.
Hare Krishna.
Спасибо большое,
Thank you
дорогие
very much,
преданные.
dear
Хотим
devotees.
пригласить вас,
Would like to invite you all.
если есть возможность
if you have
остаться с
time
нами.
to
Сейчас
stay.
будет культурная программа.
We'll have a program.
Дорогие преданные, нам нужно будет
Dear
немножечко сейчас
We need to
сдвинуться вот на эту
move the
сторону,
chairs a little bit
чтобы там у стены мы смогли
to watch the
посмотреть
program.
культурную программу Матаджи Сумангала Радха.
Mataji Sumangala Radha.
После этого будет
After
обед
this we'll have
14:40. Немножко изменилось
2:30
расписание, дорогие преданные. Я
The
сейчас
schedule has changed a little
озвучу
bit.
изменения в расписании.